All right, everybody, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Flory Doucas joins us now, co-director of the Quebec Coalition for Tobacco Control. Flory, welcome back to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Flory, what do you see? What are the vape shops doing here? What are you seeing?
So, calling a shop a vape shop is kind of, in principle, they don't exist anymore. They've all transformed themselves into more general stores.
Yeah.
And some will sell all kinds of like soda drinks, chips, all kinds of snacks. Usually maybe like lots of varieties that you won't necessarily find in your grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially the shops that only sell vaping products, that don't sell other things, they no longer exist because those shops cannot sell any of the vaping or flavored vapes, either the liquids that actually contain the nicotine or the liquids that people are adding to nicotine, because a vape shop can only sell vaping products.
Gotcha. Now, Flory, you've been on this show many times. We're definitely aligned when it comes to tobacco and cigarettes.
Yes.
Definitely aligned. I grew up with that stuff in my household. My dad smoked forever. I hated it. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Okay, aligned.
Yeah.
And I used to be aligned with you on the vaping stuff.
Yeah.
And here's what's happened, especially now in light of these new regulations. Okay, I'm just hearing from people that they're doing all of these workarounds. They're ordering online. Or they're going to Ganawake and they're picking up their vaping products from reserves, right, to get around the rules that are there. And there's no longer, when that happens, whether you go online or you go to the gray or black market, you don't have that control on quality. People are still getting their products there. And it seems to me like vaping is a product that got people to stop smoking. So I'm trying to figure out if these rule changes were the right thing to do, and I certainly am questioning that. How do you view it a few months after? Many months after.
The current situation is extremely problematic. There's a lot of uncompliance, general uncompliance, and I'll speak to what I'm observing and why I remain confident. Okay. But you're right to say that things right now, it is a far west and it doesn't look like we've moved forward. Okay. Once we've said that, one has to remind themselves why we have this regulation. The regulations are there. We were trying to curb the inducements used by industry, deployed by industry to make these products attractive to youth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say that vaping has helped people quit, well, vaping is far more popular among kids than among people who are over 25. Mm-hmm. Vaping is bringing people into the nicotine market, and at a faster rate than people are getting out of the nicotine market.
Uh-huh.
So that path is not one that we're looking for. And that's why we've got to get off that ramp.
But does it have the same health ramifications? This is the other thing. And I played my first softball game last night, and there was a guy on the other team and they were on the bench and the waft of the vapor came my way. And it was a refreshing vanilla flavor, and I rather enjoyed it. And I said to myself, okay, there's an adult. They are vaping. They're using a flavored product, right? And I keep hearing that vaping is not as bad as cigarette smoke, and so I look at that as well. Maybe we'll end up in a worse spot.
Look. The thing is that the more we learn about vaping products, the more science that we have, the greater the risks seem. That said, we still don't know things like does it relate to cancer? Cancer takes 20, 25 years to manifest itself. That's what we saw with lung cancer, right? It's like we had people starting to smoke in huge amounts in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and and even earlier, and it took like 20, 30 years to start seeing the causal link with lung cancer. So we are seeing things that are problematic and that are of concern, like things that appear to be kind of precancerous when it comes to mouth and throat, but we don't have the full picture, and we'll see how that plays out. But regardless of that, these products are very harmful, especially to people who've never smoked. And so it's one thing when you've got a smoker completely switching to these products. They might have a benefit from the switch, but a person who's never smoked sees themselves now incur important risks, cardiovascular, pulmonary, and we don't know what else. And so the idea is not to ban the products, but to force the industry to better target who uses these products. And maybe selling them in convenience stores wasn't the way to go. So while they might help people quit, no manufacturer has wanted to get their product authorized for cessation. If it was a cessation medication, all doctors would be recommending it. They would be, people using them, it would be reimbursed by their private insurance or government insurance plans. So we're not there yet. We're not there because industry wants these products to be used by many people, many clienteles, not just the ones that can benefit from them.
Flory, I do have to wrap up, but just on the fact that the online market exists. And the other gray market ways that you can get it by, taking a drive on a bridge and getting it that way in this city, right?
So
how do you
listen,
fix
we
that's not going to be
did
fixed?
have these problems with contraband cigarettes, right? And the rate of contraband has fell, drastically in the beginning of as of 2011, and we've put in new measures on cigarettes, and we don't see contraband increase. People can still go on reserve, but the fact is that contraband remains low. Why? Because we have anti-contraband measures. We've made it very difficult for people to be in that business. We've decreased the financial incentive for people to play out. Does it still exist? Yes. But is it easy? No. And that's what we need to do with vaping products and the vaping industry. So we do need more regulations. We do need a better framework to license the people who are in that business. And you know what leaves me optimistic is we spoke about a month ago, and at that point, in La Presse, we found out that at that point there had been 18 warnings that had been signaled and 25 penalties that had been issued or that would go through the judicial system. And now, in 1 month later, we learn in the Journal de Montréal that those numbers have essentially doubled.
Well, we'll see if the enforcement does change things. Flory, I have to leave it there, unfortunately.
Okay.
We'll talk
Thank
again
you for
real
having
soon.
me. Take care.
Take care. That's Flory Doucas from the Quebec Coalition for Tobacco Control.